Welcome back to the farm. Today we're going to set up our trampoline up here. So to do this, you will need a tool. It looks something like this. If you do not have one of these, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can pick one up. Otherwise, most trampolines do come with one of these. You take your spring. This part goes into the trampoline mat loops. And you take this, you pull it, and then hook it in and let go. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick a spot to start with the springs. As you can see, I've already laid out all of my springs here. I find it goes a little faster if I do that. And then I laid out my mat, and mine has this little clip here that's for the net that goes around it. So I want to make sure I land that right here. This clip has to be right about here. It's in between two of the posts that hold up the outside net, because that's where the zipper is for the net. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with this one right here, and I'm going to start on this side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way around just to the left of this one here. We're going to skip the ones with the posts and just do this one right here. And we're only going to do one spring. What you want to do is you want to count the number of holes along the edge for the springs, and then count the number of loops so you line it up right every time. A trick you can do is when you go to take it down at the end of the season is take a marker and mark these loops like I did. I have some red there so I know where each one is so I don't have to count it every time. But if you don't have that, just count them, and we're just going to do one spring at each spot right now. Alright, now we're going to do the ones that we skipped. The reason we do it this way is there's limited tension on the mat itself, because you're only pulling on one spring instead of lots of springs as you go around. The next step will be to lay the net onto the trampoline. Now when you lay the net out, you're going to want to lay it out with a zipper right here, because the zipper will be in between the support posts for the net. I already have my net fully assembled because it saves me time. So, and then you want to make sure that these clips that hook it together like this are on the outside of the trampoline. That is so you can kind of lock it so small children cannot sneak in there. Now if you notice around the edges of the net, there's this hole at the bottom of it. That hole will go around these loops. So I will start with the one right next to our zipper here, and I will go just to the right of this, and I will hook that on. And obviously we will skip the instances that already have springs on them, and we'll come back to those in just a moment. So go around and hook those on. Alright, the next step we're going to do is we're going to go to the other side of our posts and hook on here onto the D-rings with the springs. And then we're going to take the first ones off so we can put the netting around those D-rings. Alright, now we're going to go around and put one or two springs on at each location and continue going around until all the springs are on. I recommend you only do one or two at a time at each spot. Otherwise, you will increase the spring force on one side and you'll have a hard time pulling the springs on the other side. Alright, now that we got the springs on, it's time to put the padding around the outside. You'll notice around the outside flap here there's little gaps. These will have to go at locations like this, where there's a tube for the netting poles. So just to make sure everything lines up, I'm going to tie the first one. And my little helper down underneath the trampoline will help me finish tying it. Alright, while she finishes that up, I'm going to go around and line up the posts with their locations and set them up. Alright, now that we got that complete, there's one more thing I'd like to mention. I have some ground anchors that hold my trampoline in place. We've all seen those videos where the trampolines fly away with heavy winds. I'd rather not lose my trampoline because of that. So I invested in a few ground anchors. You can purchase them at any farm supply store, or I'll leave a link in the description below so you can find them online. After I screw those in, I wrap a cam lock strap around the trampoline frame, and then I hook it into the ground anchor and I pull it tight. And that's really all you need, because once the wind picks it up, it'll take it. But with those ground anchors, it can't really pick it up. So, now that you know how to set up a trampoline, go enjoy yourself.
Jumpy, jump.
Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep on farming.